Hi, I'm State Senator Joe Markley from Southington, and I'm here with my good friend and colleague, State Representative Rob Sampson of Wolcott. We're actually in the parking lot of the Walmart today because we're about to ring the bucket for the Salvation Army fundraising as we do every year, and most successfully with the support of the good people of this area. But we did want to bring you a little update on the legislature because there's been some news, and I might start by asking Rob to tell a little bit about what happened at the special session earlier this week.
So, Joe, I'm sure you know that over the past couple of months, maybe there has been a lot of negotiation between the leaders of both parties on what to do about the deficit that resulted from the shortfall of revenue after the last budget. And we were very hopeful to get some actual structural changes. I know that there were things that the Republican leadership of both the House and Senate were pushing for. They were pushing for a constitutional spending cap definition, something that's been lacking for many, many years. There was also some pension reform. There was also stuff about
Voting on the state employee union contracts was another one that they were pushing for.
That was a big one, yes. A mandatory vote on the union contracts, which is quite a concept. I mean, the fact is that these union contracts are now, they are authorized automatically within 30 days if there's no vote taken, which does a couple of things. It means that these contracts, there's very little oversight on what's actually in them, certainly from the legislature and the people's representatives. But it also means that people that would support them don't have a vote on it, and they're protected from a political counterattack. So ultimately, when we went into session, there was no deal, though. Unfortunately, the Democrats, rather than trying to go for these structural changes we were after, decided just to plug the hole and more business as usual. This is the same kind of cycle that we've been through year after year. The governor proposes a budget with a huge tax increase. At the end of the day, it ends up not being a balanced budget. We have a shortfall. We go in for a special session. My Republican colleagues and I try and fight for some actual reform to reduce spending and get us back on a concrete footing. And ultimately, they're afraid to do it. I think that they like the easy way out. It just makes sense. And the same thing happened this time. We had a party line vote, and rather than have structural reform, the Democrats in the legislature chose just to make up the shortfall. But we've already got projections for huge deficits in the coming year. So discouraging, but I'm hopeful that at some point we'll turn it around.
And there was a vote as well on the lockbox, the so-called lockbox for transportation spending.
Yeah, this is another thing. I mean, Governor Malloy has been talking about this, I think, for at least a year now. I think just after his re-election, he was talking about coming out with this transportation lockbox. But it's a gimmick. I hope that the people at home that are watching this realize that, not everything is as it seems. This is it's a word. And in fact, I gave a speech on the floor, and I compared it to the word sunset. Which they tend to use in politics. If you remember, the state income tax was supposed to sunset. We were supposed to have a conveyance tax on the sale of homes that was supposed to sunset. Well, the same thing. Many things are called a lockbox, but the fact is the legislature has the key to that box. So it makes no difference how secure we make it. We can always go back in and change it. And what's remarkable is that the same day that we had this special session, there were two votes, one on the lockbox and the other one on the deficit mitigation plan. And the deficit mitigation plan actually included a sweep of the transportation fund of $35 million to plug the gap. I mean, I think that tells you everything you need to know about the lockbox, which is that it's a phony gimmick, and don't buy into it.
If the legislature wants to act responsibly, they can act responsibly.
Absolutely.
And if they don't want to, there's no way that they can make rules that force themselves to do it. It's like somebody who's trying to quit smoking, putting the cigarettes up on the top shelf as if that's going to stop them. If you can reach up there, you can reach back and get them. Another thing that came up in this last week is the governor signaled his intent to ask the federal government for various watch lists and to use those watch lists to deny permits to purchase firearms. And that's something that Representative Sampson and I both came out strongly against. And I have to say there's a superficial appeal to this, to say, well, if people are on such a list, doesn't that mean they're dangerous? And the fact is, first of all, it doesn't mean that at all. It means that they may be a person of interest, possibly connected to somebody that the government had an interest in, but not under any suspicion legislation themselves. And the second thing is these lists, which to my understanding are compiled by 21 different federal agencies by using all sorts of different criteria, are rife with error. Famously, a few years ago, the late Senator Ted Kennedy of Massachusetts was stopped trying to board a plane because it turned out he was on one of the no-fly lists. I think that to use a list like that, possibly to inform a decision about a firearms purchase, is something we might discuss. But for the governor unilaterally to say anyone who is on such a list will be denied a permit, a constitutional right to possess a firearm, with no structure to get yourself off the list or to appeal that decision, is a complete denial of due process and something that I would strongly object to.
Yeah, no, Joe, you said it very, very well. I mean, this is just another example of Governor Malloy twisting what the truth and the facts are for his own political, opportunity. The fact is, as you said, that these lists are no one knows how you get on the list. That's one thing. I've been trying to find out. I've done a lot of research. No one knows exactly what leads to someone being on the list. And you mentioned the late Senator Ted Kennedy, but I also read a story this morning that there was a toddler that was restricted from access to an airplane. I mean, clearly there's a mistake if you have somebody that can't even speak who's prevented from being on the watch list. Joe and I can promise you, are committed to protecting all of our fundamental liberties, Second Amendment, of course, among them, and we're not going to let this happen without a fight. The fact is that we are very concerned about the safety of our citizens. The governor and I just went around back and forth about the Syrian refugees coming into the country. And again, he tried to take the exact opposite position, that somehow I was making a bold and rash statement, when in fact I'm trying to do the measured thing, which is to make sure that we have all of the information before we act and deprive anyone of their freedoms. And in that case, the public safety. In this case, the governor is ready to go ahead and call people guilty from the outside. Well, in this country, we are innocent until we are proven guilty. I have no problem restricting people that are actually a danger to our society from being on, preventing them from getting a firearm. In fact, I have constantly put in bills that say that we're going to increase the penalties for various crimes with guns. So it's not an issue of that. We're happy to do that, but we want to do it in a proper way.
And the proper way to do it is through the legislative process. The idea of doing this by executive order, I think, is not only ridiculous, but I don't think it's constitutional if it comes down to it and is challenged. We have a procedure for making laws which allows for discussion and for public input and for modification, and that's what we ought to be doing. If the governor wants something like this, he should propose a bill, and then we can take it from there. And the last thing I want to mention is that my town hall meetings for January in the 5 towns in my Senate district are now scheduled. Many of you may have received the flyer with those dates in the mail just in the last few days. We will be putting that, even as I speak, up on the screen so you can see all of those dates. Rob will be joining me at both the Southington and the Wolcott town halls. I'll be joined over in Prospect by Leslie Zupkis, and I'm sure by my friend Al Adinolfi at some of the others. So it's a great opportunity to come and talk about what we're looking forward to in the session. You don't have to live in that town to come. You don't have to live in the district to come. If you're interested in joining us, we'd be happy to have you. So with that, and with thanks to my friend Representative Rob Sampson for his insight, we will go over and ring the bell for the Salvation Army and Southington Social Services, and we wish you a very happy holiday season and a Merry Christmas.
I agree. I hope everyone has a spectacular holiday, and thank you, Joe, for the opportunity.
My pleasure. Take care.